Now, Labour have admitted that Deputy Leader Angela Rayner was indeed present when Sir Keir Starmer was filmed having a beer with colleagues in Durham during lockdown last year. Some Tory MPs have urged police to reconsider their decision not to investigate the event, following fines being issued to Boris Johnson for attending a number 10 birthday party. Johnson's spokesperson said that the PM thinks the law should be applied equally at all times. Paul, I'm going to come to you first on this, because one of the key points that you've kind of made is, I think, that the most frustrating thing that you can see from politicians around COVID is the hypocrisy. Do you think that it appears that Starmer and Rayner are guilty of this too?
Very possibly. And my view simply, Deanna, is plague on all your houses with this kind of stuff. I mean, going back to what I said at the top of the show, I think most people are becoming a bit sick and tired of how Parliament is just now navel gazing over a lot of this stuff. Now, you know, if people in Parliament, particularly those who argued the hardest for lockdown, have themselves been found to have contravened the rules, then in one respect, you know, my view is, well, it serves you right. You kind of deserve all of the scrutiny and the criticism that's coming your way, because you were the people who voted for laws which effectively stopped people from being with their loved ones when they were dying, stopped people attending weddings, even told people who they could have intimate sexual relations with. And if in some respect now you made a rod for your own back because people are now looking at what you did during the lockdown period, then frankly you deserve it. But ultimately, you know, as I said, I think people out there in the country are past this. They're past caring. They saw the story at the time, thought that the government, Boris Johnson and others, may have been hypocritical. Many people called on him to resign. He didn't. I suspect he's not going to. So I think most people's view now is, let's move on and talk about what matters to me. How am I going to put food on the table? How am I going to pay for my mortgage? There's a cost of living crisis. There's an energy crisis. There's a war in Europe. What are you doing about that?
Mm-hmm. Arlene, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, my thoughts are that Sir Keir Starmer is a lawyer. He will know the phrase that goes like this: he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. And it appears that he doesn't have completely clean hands. In other words, if you're going to criticise somebody for breaking a regulation or a law in relation to COVID, you better make sure that you're completely clean. And of course, we've seen this right throughout the United Kingdom. Nicola Sturgeon, of course, jumps on any bandwagon that calls on the Prime Minister to resign. And then the next day we find out that she's somewhere without a mask because that at the time was the regulation. I mean, it has become a bit of a farce, frankly. For those of us in Northern Ireland, of course, we had the Deputy First Minister going to an enormous funeral and political rally at the same time as she was telling people that it was limited to 10 for ordinary families. So, you know, this is going on right across the United Kingdom, making laws and then not abiding by those laws. I think people have made up their own judgments in relation to all of that. And the fact that we're still talking about it and dragging it out, people are just really fed up with it, Deanna. And I think it adds to what we were talking about in the first segment of the programme, that, you know, people just want them to concentrate on what's important, and they're not doing that, but instead in a tit-for-tat battle as to who broke which COVID regulation about 2 years ago. So it has to stop, and people need to move on.
Yeah, well, I completely agree. But send us your views. Do you agree with our sentiment there? What do you make of all of this ongoing Partygate stuff?